Because, Mr. Chair,
The Honourable Dr.
Mr. Chairman, this part of the bill deals with the real heart of the government's social housing reforms. It does three important things. Firstly, it opens up the income-related rent subsidy to those people that live in community social housing on an equal basis. So if you're Habitat for Humanity, if you're Accessible Properties, a subsidiary of IHC, if you're the Salvation Army, and you provide social housing for high needs clients, you're going to be able to receive the same subsidy that the government provides for Housing New Zealand. The second very important reform, and it's substantial, is that when people require housing assistance, they will in future go to the Ministry of Social Development or WINS. That makes really good sense because right now actually our biggest social assistance for housing comes through the accommodation supplement. The government spends nearly $2 billion a year. The government also through WINS provides grants for people to be able to get a bond. And it makes really good sense for our constituents to be able to go to one port of call for housing assistance, and that person at the Ministry of Social Development may say, hey, look, we need to give you support to get a bond so you can get a house in the private sector. You may be eligible for an accommodation supplement, or you may be eligible for an income-related rent and a social house. And constituents get really frustrated right now getting pushed between pillar and post between am I eligible for an accommodation supplement or am I allocated for an income-related rent. So reform that makes really good sense. And equally in this bill we require the regulation of those social housing sector. If you're going to get those high subsidies, then it's fair for the government to say, we want to be sure that you run a really good outfit, that you've got good tenancy services, that you're providing good quality houses, and that you provide the sort of services that will make for a good social housing provider. Now, the part that I really want to challenge the opposition on this is this. You can have all your weasel words you like about whether you support the community housing sector or not. I've got a simple question. Do you support the reform in this bill that will let social housing providers have access to the income-related rent? Yes or no? I've been listening to the debate for 20 minutes and I'm none the wiser. I come away with a clear impression that they don't know. Well, the members need to be clear on that. The second point of which I am none the wiser is, do members opposite support MSD having the role of assessing that comprehensive assessment? It's a big part of the reform. It's actually one of the most important changes. Again, I'm none the wiser. I don't get the idea that Labor has any idea what they stand for. Well, no, I'm simply saying the substantive policy change in this bill makes those two substantive changes. Does Labor support those or not? And I challenge Labor members and say, if they cannot answer those substantive questions on such an important social issue for New Zealand, then they really are vacant, and no wonder their popularity is so low when they can't sort out such a fundamental element of their own housing policy.
I'm going to hear from Jacinda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm very pleased that I was able to continue my contribution. I thought the Minister